Hello friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Katja and this time I'm making something more current. We took part in the Ommel festival here in Finland in June. The guys of Tauko magazine were there and they had samples of the patterns available for people to look at. Both me and my daughter liked this Helmi blouse and so I decided to make her one. The first thing to do was to trace the pattern pieces. I know many of my viewers from America are probably puzzled with these European pattern sheets, as American patterns look completely different and can be just cut away from the pattern sheet if one wishes to do so. These European style pattern sheets allow more patterns to be printed on the same sheets, but you have to go through the trouble of tracing them onto pattern paper. These pattern sheets are not that hard to decipher, but I found it slightly annoying that the different pattern pieces were on different sheets, and several of them were split in half. Tracing itself is no problem for me. I trace my patterns even from big American companies like Patrick and McCall's. I want to keep the pattern sheet whole in case I want to make the same pattern in different sizes. After tracing the pattern, it is necessary to make fitting changes. I don't have a sloper for my daughter, who is still growing, but we can compare the pattern pieces to her, so let's call her in. The pattern is made to a taller person, so I'll need to move the bust dart to a better position and shorten the blouse at the waist. I will also take away length from the bottom. Now I need to transfer the same changes to the back part as well. I also ended up shortening the sleeve pattern for about 2 inches. I have had this lightweight cotton satin fabric from Nuppu Print Company for ages because I couldn't decide what to do with it. I like this fabric as it is almost viscose-like in its softness and drape, but it still breathes better as it is 100% cotton. I only had bought 1 meter of it, but it was just enough to make a blouse. I don't have that much fabric, so I have to cut every piece separately in order to save fabric. I decided to make the stand-up color. I was a bit lazy. There were 2 pattern pieces separately for the outer and inner colors, but I cut just one, as I knew that the difference was smaller than my cutting accuracy. Normally I just adjust the seam allowance a bit and press the color edges to get a neat finish. By the way, I have a new sewing machine. Somebody wanted to get rid of her mother's old Husqvarna Viking designer one, and I bought it. At this point, I'm still learning how to use all the features of the machine. I started sewing from the darts. Then I made the long ties that close the collar. I saw the back darts starting from the middle and ending to the points. I know all the sewing books tell you to make knots instead of sewing backwards at the ends. I honestly don't know why. There's nothing wrong with my darts and I have always done a few back stitches to finish the dart. I'll stay stitch the neckline to prevent it from stretching. I started to sew the shoulder seams and then realized it was much easier to make the front slit before the shoulder seams were completely sewn. Yes, there were instructions available on the magazine. No, I did not bother to read them. So I interfaced this little facing piece and finished the edges with zigzag. I would have used my serger, but it unfortunately broke down and wasn't working. Well, zigzag works just as well. Now I mark the position of the slit. I won't cut the slit before the facing is sewn in place, as it is much easier to get a neat result like this. I'll pin the facing to the middle of the front neckline. Then I pin the ties on both sides of the slit. Now I can just sew around the line I just drew. Let's cut the slit. I cut to the corners diagonally all the way to the stitching. After pressing, I stitch around the slit once more to keep the facing in place. Now I can finish sewing those shoulder seams. Next, it is time to make the collar. I have interfaced the outer color with fusible interfacing. I narrowed down the seam allowance and notched the curves. And here is the color after pressing. Let's sew the color on. I'm used to sewing by hand, so I finished the inside edge of the collar by hand, although you could do this by machine as well. I just think that hand sewing looks neater. Now it is time to add the sleeves. I didn't add the ruffles to the sleeves, so I only need to gather the sleeve cap slightly to ease them in. Then I can sew the sleeve seams and the side seams. I can do this in one go, starting from the cuff and ending to the hem of the blouse. And of course, we need to hem the blouse. The sleeves are pretty wide at the cuff edge and they are gathered to narrow cuffs. I'm trying to distribute the gathers evenly here and then pin the cuff in place. just finish the cuffs by hand. And here is the finished blouse. I had a bit of fabric left, so I made 2 hair donuts. Now my daughter can wear matching space buns. Thank you for watching. What did you like this model make? Do you prefer me sewing only historical costumes? Comment down below. Please subscribe to my channel and see you later. Bye!